Hello, my name is Tobias Halaban, and this is a presentation about what to expect before taking AP Art History and why you should take the class. All the images you see are paintings that are in the AP Art History curriculum. In this class, you're going to learn how to identify and analyze 250 unique artworks. I know that sounds like a lot, but not only is the content interesting to learn about, the AP Art History teacher, Ms. Moss, splits the work up into digestible chunks via codexes, which I will explain in the next slide. You're also going to give 6 presentations a semester covering an artwork of your choosing. So that means researching and talking about artwork that you find fascinating. Something that's exciting to look forward to are the field trips. This class takes frequent field trips to visit world-famous museums for free. At the end of each unit, you will take a unit test, which is a mock AP exam with less questions. Very helpful for preparing you for the real deal. Something Ms. Moss likes to include in her curriculum are hands-on art projects, which are extremely fun because she has access to the ceramics room and art supplies galore. All these assignments culminate in taking the AP exam, which you will be well prepared for just by showing up to class. A commonly asked question about AP Art History is, how much homework will I have? Well, about 4 times a week you will complete a codex entry, which is a 30-minute assignment, and that's the most homework you're ever going to get. Codexes. So what is a codex? I've mentioned it a lot, and this is what it looks like. The way it works is you're going to get into teams of 3, and each person will be either A, B, or C. And based off your letter, you're going to get assigned an artwork. You have to research that artwork, and after reading the Smart History article, you're going to have all the information you need to fill in the blanks. The information is who made it, and when was it made? You're going to know. What's the historical context? You're going to know that too. The benefit of completing these nightly codex entries is that eventually you and your partners are going to have a full codex. It's just a Bible of AP Art History knowledge that you can flip through and study around exam time. Presentations. In AP Art History, a presentation from a classmate is an everyday occurrence. This builds a Socratic culture around the class where students engage in conversation about the artwork. Students will ask questions and share their knowledge about the theme, culture, or identity of the given art piece. I also want to share with you the information that you're going to need in order to give a successful presentation. Here's one that I drafted for the roof of the Sistine Chapel, painted by the famous Michelangelo. This is going to be one of your 250 artworks. Notice how the information that I need is the same as the information on the codex. Now, let's say I'm giving this presentation and someone asks me, what does fresco mean? That's something I should know, especially as the person giving the presentation. And I do know it. For everyone watching, fresco is a painting technique with a long history dating back to 1500 BCE. It involves using powdered pigment and water on a wet plaster wall or ceiling, and you paint it on, and as the plaster dries, the pigment becomes just part of the wall. Field trips. We live in one of the most creative cities in the world. We have access to so many museums, and in this class we have the opportunity to visit them. In most AP Art History classes, students view art solely from a screen. And as a student in the modern era, I can say that we spend enough time looking at our computers and phones. Leaving school and viewing the art the way the artist intended it to be seen is an engaging and valuable experience, and also just a good break from looking at a screen. The AP Art History exam is made up of 2 sections. The multiple choice section, it lasts 1 hour, is worth 50% of your score, and is 80 questions long. The second section of the AP Art History exam are the free response questions. You get 2 hours to complete these, it's worth the other 50% of your exam score, and there are 6 questions, which means that's 6 essays to write, which frankly is a lot. But I have some good news. There are only 2 long essay questions, the comparison essay and the visual/contextual essay. For both of those essays, you have to write around 4 to 5 paragraphs. The rest of the essays, the visual, the contextual, attribution, continuity, and change, those are all short answer questions, so you only have to write 2 to 3 paragraphs. The way that these essays are scored are based on if they meet the specific criteria for each question. Each question is different, but some universal truths are being able to identify the artwork. You have to know the artist's name, what the piece was called, and the era it was made in. You also need to know what it looks like, the techniques the artist used, and what it was made for. So, in other words, the form, historical context, and the function all things that you take notes on in your codex. So you should be well prepared for this. And if you don't think you're prepared enough, you don't think reviewing the codex is enough because maybe you struggle with studying alone. I struggle with studying alone. So luckily, part of the curriculum involves structured studying in the weeks before the exam. This means Miss Moss gives the class the whole period to review with classmates. You guys quiz each other, and Miss Moss walks around as an enforcer, asking you questions about the material and making sure you're downloading that information. It's moments like these that you realize the whole class is here to help you out. I'll let you look at some of my personal favorite paintings as I talk. This is the slide where I convince you to take the class. By taking A Period History, you're learning how to appreciate and talk about beauty. Sure, these paintings are, a spectacle, but to the trained eye, they're stories. A small fist-sized sculpture becomes the soul of a deceased ancestor. A collage becomes the culmination of one of history's greatest revolutions. There's more to A Period History than meets the eye, and as you take the class, I'm sure you'll be pleasantly surprised. Thank you.